You know, John Wick, I got a nice book right here. What is it? Five, 6, 7 by 5. We'll call it 9, 9.5. So it's like a 7 by 9. We'll call it without the cover on the book, and it's clean. It's good. Nice pages. I hate that lined paper isn't a fucking quarter inch so I can do scale maps. It drives me crazy that I have to reline it and then I have to have grid lines with paper lines on it and paper. But that's the nature of the book, right? You know, you're looking at firstly how you're going to set up some Davite or law book from the SCP, you know, the legal cases from the day that define what you're teaching teachers or nominees or what have you. But I just want to set up Marshmallow's treasure chest, which I really have. That's my black book, and there are plenty in a pamphlet ready for it to go in there. I think there's still a couple of pages attached for what that main monster is. But what are we doing, Ronan? I mean, what are we doing, John Wick, inside here? Are we setting up a contract? Firstly, my soul patent. Got to come first, right? As far as a resume, I got to write down tall, wide, and pretty accordingly, 5'9", 150, and whatever I believe my resume is going to best do. So it's better to do it than, you know, because you're not doing this for a resume. Pieces of it might come up to be useful in that shard of it as far as the overall, like you can small business design, you can temp people and train people on resume text and stuff like that. So again, reason to sign the book. It's a psychological YC Law and Order talking about it on as far as this psychologist got in there. They know how to probe for information. Some knuckling pocket of the air turbulence equation or space at large. I mean, how do you quantify that as a value and be secure as far as what it does? Well, I need some experimental data. I need what that turns to, not only in that page, but why I assembled all the other person too. The other name that goes into that, or the group thesis within the name, key to the population and rank and structure, but it always starts from 1, but it goes out to 10. It's one of them stupid little things about first graders and stuff like that, or kindergartners, getting them to count to 10 because it's all made up. The letter A is made up, the number 1's made up, that dot that quantifies what it is, the Bohr's radius, Gaussian radius, Schwarzschild's radius, all of it's made up. It's a geometric way to break down geometry. There's lines, there's angles, because they have relationships to each other. That's why hydrogen and helium act the way they do, and therefore the rest of the iron, carbon, lithium, the whole chain of events makes sense, and why, even if you don't understand it, that's the basic, Archimedes method. It's not Archimedes. The original guy who come up with the celestial model or AC/DC models. Again, what are we building inside here? What's that name correlate to? Is a group of people where I could take a 7 by 8 or 7 by 9 page like that, quantify it to the persons, and not get said, well, computer space is definitely the way you do that, because, I mean, it might be Captain Kree here or Captain Kane, and the battlefield is the orcs, and that really plays this off a little different comparatively to just generally Cadia's armies model on. Now that I've log 10'd it, I got some units to actually do the Roman Legion, the 11th, or any of the other ones that got clipped for heresies that are necessarily a Magnus Red issue for Under the Demon. Here you can slide right into the... Well, you know, by names, you don't know back in the day. That might have been the name. You don't name your kid Hitler anymore, or Armageddus, as far as what that you call him, Mike or John or Mary or something like that. And so you're going to get a lot of Johns, Lukes, and Marys that reference this spectrum of things that are still within up or down. Is it from Mary to Jonah Ark is now our new index on what that is, and Rosie Riveter key is right in there, right? You know, she can right at the top of the key. Paulie's exclusionary, like, usually jumps it over. She wouldn't want to be in those groups, but would she? Because that's how, again, that heavier element works its way to a core of sunshine out there. And again, I just wanted to get that note in there about signing the ledger, having it mean something. America, the Declaration of Independence, Ronan, and stuff like that. You have the opportunity to certainly be able to do like stuff like that when it comes to whatever the hell I've been ripping here. Just throw one into it, see what I got. Oh, yeah, custodies, that's a lot of it right there. Some people got to drive into work different, so between infinity hot and infinity cold, well, it's actually supposed to be 20 is 52,000. I got to get you 200 or at 225 to something that serves not only my own means, but then after the farmer's expenses, that I can actually make profit on that station on a cosmic ladder for you. And in terms of your Chaos Marine or your Custodes, that's just generally imposing the Emperor's will of heretics and lazy quiet quitters that some other, the Horus that thinks he's bigger than the Emperor man over there is calling it out, but honestly, I'm still doing my job. So you can be pissed and you can get fucked, to be perfectly frank, and that's what that Infinity Metal is about, where I need it to be, about being stable in that. Most time, NPK, water solution, it's supposed to be war. The parts per million in the board factory or just smog outside. Those are big celestial numbers that play a lot to the moons or their tidal forces, tides. Ships will get wrecked. Somebody messes that up, you're gonna have to get into the weighing a resistance of dirt. It's chemical by sands or clay. They have a couple of different models where the quantum level of clay doesn't necessarily play to the global level or astrological level of like, well, yeah, cool, it works in Earth. As far as the lensing radial of what some wave function would be passing out there, getting pushed in dark matter or dark energy or something. Whatever the finer particle notation to Fe or iron to infinities, 888 works too, because again, some people may drive farther. So, to equate that out to the same level of stress in the mill, it's going to get quirky. I'm kind of specifically looking for quirks on that notation. Like, physically I can. I like the way you work. And so somebody that's very close to the shop or somebody who's very, very far away, again, that's not the kind of torsion you're looking for there when it comes to OT on what this is against what the custodes job may be inside of a system like that, because Big Uncle Sam government said so. Right? Different metrics for different people and station for station, unless the mill shuts down holy jewels across not just its own shop standards, but across all shop standards that they take lunch at, get up at 8, get up 7, then there's a bunch of differences between terms. Therein lies some of the Iron Infinity issue on, like, well, who gets allotted to be able to do something like that, because, the goal resources is some guardsman from Cadia down there is always going to be your first of index before some Primarch comes around in a ultramarine costume, being big, tall, and pretty, or having helicopters or miniguns with a dreadnought attached to it. That's not something that the enemy may have known you were ready to technically throw at them, and that is that ball passing through it, I guess. Yeah, when it comes to light and wave functions, they certainly did not expect some of the notations.